So we are part of the interior architecture department, and we are a master of space and communication and subtitle design installation. I think we've done, so, I don't know, 12 years of presentations, and every year I want to think, oh, how can I present the course differently? There are a lot of presentations online, so you can check those. So this year I thought, I'm going to start the other way around than actually Valentina. So the background of our students, I just spotted a student there, Emil, and Adele, and what they produce after 2 years in the master. So we have in the cube 7 of our graduates are there, so when you finish, you can go and talk to them if you want to know more about their work. So this is Emil, who is in the room, and he produced this. Pipes have their own ways. It was an organ, a public organ to bring together a community and to play. It's very much in the spirit of the DIY. And again, you can go and play. And he won the Hans Wildorf Prize, which is a big prize to win. So we have Vincent Grange. Also, I want to talk, sorry, I forgot to mention. He had a background also as an opera singer, which very much informs this project. And Vincent Grange, who has a background in hospitality, and he produced Dorothy's House, which is based on this story in the army, in the American army, that they were, if you were gay, I'd introduce yourself as Dorothy's friend. And the military got to a moment when they thought this Dorothy person existed, and they were trying to find out who she was, so she would give out the names of all the militaries who were gay in the 80s. So, so he created this queer space, and with a lot of hidden information, and it's created, there is a lot of countries now, they are banning homosexuality and homosexual marriage, etc. And it is important to have projects that explore these worlds and trying to keep the world as open as possible. Hannah, who comes from a background in politics, and she was working with companies who dispose of rubbish, and she was collecting the ashes after they burned the rubbish, and she was creating different objects that were glazed with this ash, so to speak of the provenance of all the rubbish that we dispose of in actually Switzerland in this case. Lovena, so she has a background in interior architecture, and she was working about the black hair, and which is a huge political issue, apart from a personal issue. So she's, in this performance, she was talking both about her thesis, her memoir, discussing these themes, and her own story as being one of the few people of color who live in a village in France, being adopted by a white family. So this is Adele, who is also in the room, and she comes from art and design. And her work is mixing science and design, and having this dialogue and how you create works that they do have this sort of connection, right? Create links with that science and design and the communication of science. So Roberta Foss, who did product design, and she was working with plants that have disappeared from the mountains in Switzerland, and she was working with herbariums in Britain, in Switzerland, and in the States, and she recreated in paper plants that they were still preserved in these herbariums, and she's creating new environments with dead plants. And it's a project that she's now running in collaboration with some botanical gardens as a way for the gardens to, how do you speak of the disappearance of plants? Marie-Eleni, who also had a background in interior architecture, and she was looking at the Matilda effect, how in history the participation of women has been ignored. And in the case of Jean Barret, she was a biologist, but all her work was, sorry, I'm not going to remember the name of the actual botanist, but all her work was under the name of a man, and her work was about creating documents to certify Jean Barret as the one creating these herbariums and giving her diplomas from universities that she didn't have. But talking about these invisible people, usually women, in the history of design. So this, I mean, we have plenty of students. You can see in our website as well, or the projects. But I just talk about these ones because you can talk to them. They are in the cube today. So in an interview with one of our students, alumni, he was asking, how can I make the work that you have in your website? No? How do you get to produce work like this? And I know that can be very overwhelming because what you see in the website in the section of projects are very complete and very complex projects that they have multimedia, they may have film installation, performance, etc. And when you come from a bachelor of a certain discipline, it's hard to imagine how you get to produce these complexities. So we do that. We have a setup, our structure, and I'm going to talk also about a few events that we have that inform and contextualize and reinvent our master. So we are making hands-on, full-size production master. So this is very important. We have if you haven't been there yet, we are in the 4th floor. So we have a very diverse space. We keep it empty. Every project, things happen. When it ends, we remove everything. And the idea is to keep a space that is that can be adapted to different projects and different things happening in front. So this is what we call the Studio One. This is the workshop with Larry Watts. He's a performer based in Geneva. And within this studio, we can create mini spaces or mini rooms also to do other mini projects. But the idea is to keep this flexibility of the space. Usually, it looks really clean today. We have been talked about in La Head as the messy place, and people come to see how messy it is by the end. but it's very organic, and what is great is the students don't have an allocated space. You all work in the space, and who has a big project takes more space, and the other ones, smaller, take less. But we have not had problems with how we use the space. Everybody is very generous, and that's the idea, to keep it like that. So this is a Studio 2, a smaller room that we use more for theory, but also if you need to do something in complete darkness, we can make it completely black, or we can do films. Today, if you go, you can see 1-minute movies of graduates from the last 2 years about their final project. And this is the unclassified space in the middle. Because of higher regulations, we cannot have anything there. So we have these big benches where you can use for performance, opportunity for a photo, or have a siesta. And so in the big space, we have benches, we have a tool trolley, which is, it may seem not very important, but it is, because for many years, we instigate that the students bring their own tools, and it seems to be something that it just cannot happen. So this year, we came up with this trolley. It's full of tools. Everybody can share them. And it's proven very effective, because although you can borrow tools from the workshops, you have to compete with the rest of the school. And this is something that we have around. You can move. We have some small drill and things like this. We have 3D printers which are also part of our department. And we have a multimedia, quite a few videos, sound. And of course, as Valentina was talking, we have access to unlimited resources within La Head. So you can use all of these different workshops. And they really welcome. Last year, I think nearly half of our students decided to do ceramics. And none of them came from this background. And in the workshop in Cherco, they were incredible. So it really is you have to learn to use La Head as a resource. It's not only you are in a master's, this is your place, but think that you are in a university, and there are other places where you can, there are also studios, you can use like a green room, a photography studio, etc. So really, try to do this from the beginning and don't wait for the final project to get familiar with the rest of the spaces that we have. Including the library, you know, we have books. Okay, the structure, so it's a 2-year master's, it's English speaking, although you can do your thesis in French, and it's 120 ECTs. So, and yeah, it is full-time. It's really intense, and you need to be here the 5 days of the week. Doesn't mean every day there is a tutor with you, but it means it's the project's work, you being there 5 days. Also because you work in groups, and if you are missing, the group is missing you, and so it's very important that you understand the commitment that you are doing for 2 years. So in year 1, we have projects 55% of the time, then we have the thesis, we have workshops within our department, and we have exchange workshops which are with the CAL and within the university, and with the Maya, the interior architecture master. So projects, and this is something new for next year. I think when people do a master, a lot of students, they have this, you know, idea, oh, I go to the masters, I'm gonna spend 2 years doing my things, my work, and then they arrive to the master and they counter that there is you have projects, you work in a community, and I think it's always this little element of, oh, I had this idea for the master, and when they arrive, it's always a bit of a disappointment on not having time to do a lateral or side project, which is personal during year 1 as well. So next year, we have introduced the personal project. So in the first semester, you'll divide the time between a big project with a partner and a personal project, which we will support, but it's giving you that space to have that autonomy. So this is when it's very important, the use of all those facilities, the workshops, etc., because that's an opportunity that you have to explore those places. And in year 2, you have your master thesis, which is not necessarily written. You can do a film, a performance. It can come in any form, or in writing, and it can be in English or French. Although the course is in English, we understand that some people, when it comes to theory, you may want to express in your own language. So then the other 50% is your practice project, which is the physical installation. And then we have also a few workshops that you do within the department, with the other students in the department, year 1, and then 10% that you do with, again, other departments in the school. So, yeah, it's a question asked, because we do this design installation, and it's not part of a discipline. There is not an outlet for this kind of work. It's not like when you finish, people who graduate from this non-discipline has a job in this terrain. It's really, you can have a job in any place. So 3 years ago, we did a study of where our students, since we started, where do they work? And it was 33% they work in space-related worlds, and it says 9% were independent, so they have their own studio with other people or on their own, and 4 were employed. Then on graphic design, 23%, 7 were employed, 60% were in art and design, and they were all independent. We have also people working in movies or interface, graphic design and space, working with an institution, like we have graduates who are curators in museums, 5% in product design, and we have 1% who is an art dealer now. So, but then, so this was like for 3 years ago. But last year, the graduates, we had 12 students, And they divided on 2 studios. So one is Espace with Collective Chimera, which there are 6 plus 4 other members. And just recently, the other 6 students came together and they made this other studio, No Matter Collective. So in these studios, what they do their independent work, but they do works in groups. So you join forces first to maintain the studio, etc., but also to do complex works, but also gives the opportunity to maintain your personal practice and to keep working and finding your place in whatever area of work you are interested. So the projects that happen, because I know that we talk a lot about the projects of our students, graduation project, and even giving this personal project in year 1, but it's because we believe the master is a one way to, the education is about you learning to be independent, getting the confidence that you are able to produce a project from 0 to the end, to able to manage the whole thing, generating ideas, talk to experts, create the installation, create your communication, etc. And through going through this process, you get the confidence that you can do that, and not only that you do the same as you have done, but that you know you can reinvent yourself because you have done it. So it's creating this, through the different projects through the 2 years, creating this confidence that you are able to do that. So we also do projects, as I said, in groups and collaboration, which is very important because I talk about personal practice, but nobody works on their own, really. Everybody works, students help each other. Somebody may help you with a movie. When you make a film, you need other people to hold the light, to maybe do the voice, etc. So in design, we always work as collaborations, let's call it, which they can be open, or it can be like you help friends, each other. So doing projects as a group, it helps you develop this capacity to share. So this is we designed for the fashion department this year, the défilé with the artist Inma Femenia. And the brief was, we needed to create a space that, of course, it looks amazing and is engaging and creates like a warm atmosphere, but that it doesn't take over the fashion. So it really frames the clothing, and it makes the protagonist is not the space, but it's the fashion. And I think it was really successful in the production. This is previous work of Inma, and it was great to be able to share her process and how to generate this installation, which it was in the Cube. And if you go upstairs, you can see a longer video of the installation. So we're also working with MUDAC in Lausanne for the Biennale of the Sun, which is the opening is in March, and our students have been working around stories, what's the word? Dystopic stories, rather than, a lot of the exhibition is about what can we do for the future, and I think they have taken the dark side of what happened with the sun, really extinct the life in Earth. So you can see they have done dioramas that they are also in the 4th floor, and you can see, and they will be exhibited as part of this exhibition. So also in the cases like this, we started a project with the symposium, and we invited to talk about the theme of the sun, and we got the curators from MUDAC to come and talk to the students. So we really get embedded in which is all the theoretical side of the project, and then students produce the physical work. So also last year, and I have this here because now it's going to be this project will be in Milan, Alexandra Midal, who is a member of our team, was the curator of the 28th Biennale of Design in Ljubljana. And for this project, it was a collaboration with the university in Ljubljana. So the students traveled to Ljubljana during a week. They shared time. They were doing readings, etc. And they created pieces together in collaboration. So it was one student from Ljubljana, one student from Geneva. And it was based in this project. The Biennale is called Double Agent, and it's about hidden messages. And it's based on this American, oh, I know, that's 20 minutes, so I know I have like 10. So it was being interviewed in television because he was in a camp, and he was with the eyes, what doing with Morse. He was saying, yeah, they treated me really well, but with the eyes was saying, no, they are torturing me. So following these hidden messages, which is one passion of Alexandra, they created these flowers, because the exhibition is also called double agent do you speak flower. And they created these flowers, which some were real and some were AI generated. And there is this hidden message, which were from quotes that, for the theoretical readings that they were doing at the beginning, or some writings of the students. So these are some of the images. And this project is now traveling to Milan for the furniture fair that is in April. And so it's being conformed in a very different shape, but but we can see it there. I think sometimes it's very frustrating that you do, when you're a professional, you produce work, and it's not only seen on one place. Your work travels, and you have the opportunity to really, all the public can see your work, but also you reinvent your work for different context. So this year, we are doing that. Not only had a live in the Biennale, but it's going to have a second live in Milan, and it will have a different format, and it will be a different way to engage with a different community. So then we also have some events that it helps the course to inform our teaching, to contextualize the teaching, and to reinvent our master. We've been going for 13 years, and it's very important for us to be always contemporary, that engages in issues of today, with politics, with how we produce work now, but also how students understand education now. It's very different. Things have changed, especially since COVID. And for us, it's very important to have a constant response to how times changes in terms of both education and what we expect from education. So one thing is the Gross Encounters One Night Fright Festival, which first edition was last year. And so this is part of the workshop run by Noam Toram and Rem Salek. And students, in 1 week, they learn to do horror makeup, and they produce a film. So they create the story, the makeup, they do the film, etc. And then we've been wanting to do a festival or something that, because I was saying the work we produce is very hard to place in anything specific. We wanted to be able to do a festival that could be like, well, this is the kind of work we do, rather than us going to a festival, bring people to our festival. So this is we decided to go for Gross Encounters because it has a materiality, it's something that happens to us, but also you can create its installation, so there is a physical side to it, and there is a film side to it, and there is a theoretical side to it. So this was from last year's festival in the Espace, which was the studio of one of our graduates groups, remember? And these are speakers on the night, so this is the space. And this year, I lived less there. Next Saturday, we have the second edition of the festival, again in Espace Ducat, and so it's a night of horror, bloody makeup, and talks, and a lot more. So join us. And Alexandra Midal is in charge of, we also creating symposiums that it helps reframe our non-practice. So precisely this is always a problem, explaining what the master does. And it's important to to create this other context that, again, helps to inform our course, but also helps to communicate the course by identifying the things we do with the practice of other people. So it's the speakers are to be conference, so that's what I'm not saying. And just very fast, we are a small team who are in contract for saying, and this is Alexandra Vidal, Noam Toram, this is me from El Último Grito, Arno Matisse, Dominic Robson. And then we have our assistant doing a PhD, Eloise Bo. And we have Martin Zambas, who is a graduate alumni from the course, who is our assistant. And we have had quite a few assistants who have been alumni from the course because they understand the course, and also it's a great opportunity for them to enter another possible area of work, which is academia. And then we have a lot of supporting guests that come to the workshops, so they're part of the festival, the symposium, they help us with the practical project, etc. You can make a photo and check them out. And that's it. We have a website. You can also check the website of La Head. Arnaud I co-direct the course with Arnaud Matisse, and so you can write to him, to me, or both, if you have any questions. And I hope I helped to clarify a bit what we do. Next year, it'll be different. Come back. Thank you.